Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Camper Report. Unfortunately, I don't have my computer today, and so the mic is going to be a little bit not as good for me. But we have John Chapman today, and very smart 49ers content creator. If you haven't already, which you definitely have, go check him out because he's just all around great person, great guy, and very knowledgeable on all things NFL, especially the 49ers. So how are you doing today, John? And I'm happy to talk 49ers again. It's been a while.
It has been a minute, man. I really appreciate you having me back on. We had a really good time last time, and
Yes.
I feel like, man, things are good, but we're like in this weird like simmering stage right now, right? We got about 2.5 weeks till training camp starts. The Jimmy G, where is he gonna be? Not gonna be? It's a fun time right now because it's about to erupt. News is gonna be coming soon with Debo, with Jimmy.
Yeah.
We just gotta kind of endure right now, I think is how it is.
Yeah. So you're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, and obviously there's not a ton of news. So this is something came out today. There was a guy that used to play for the NFL or like used to play in the NFL for the Bucs. Knows some of the people in the front office. Do you know his name? I can't remember actually. His name is like.
It's not I'll say this. Whenever you jump into anything nowadays, you always have to consider the source. Having said that, Dan Cilio, who is the reporter's name, I don't know. I don't like to say bad things about anybody. If he nails this would be one of the first things he's gotten correct out of all the rumors that he's put out there. You got to consider the source. And I kind of want to dive into this a little bit, Ben.
Yeah, so
why it would make sense and why it wouldn't, because I don't know. There's a lot of question marks there.
Yeah, that's my question to you. So Jimmy Garoppolo, that was a rumor. He talked. Now, the thing that is a little bit sketchy about this is he said it almost feels like clickbait, because he said if you read back at his Twitter, his tweet from Twitter, he said, it's Don Yee, right? That's the agent on my show today. And then he said, no, I'm not having him on my show. I talked to him though. And I mean, there's speculation if he knows him. I mean, let's just say he does know him. But first thing, do you believe this, that Jimmy Garoppolo, that the Bucs are trying to work out a deal with the 49ers for Jimmy Garoppolo? Do you believe this? And if you did, how would it work? What would be the pick compensation? Because obviously Baker Mayfield, we have a whole show on this. Baker Mayfield, how would this work even if it did?
Okay, so all right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate to my own thing. I don't think that this is even in the works at all. But if it was, okay, you have to ask yourself why. Jimmy's on an expiring contract. Okay,
right.
So they're going to have to re-sign him. Tom Brady's there this year. So why would you trade for a 1-year contract? You'd have to redo a deal, try to get him long-term on the cheap, whatever else. Okay. So if you're looking at draft compensation wise, why would you trade Jimmy Garoppolo to one of the playoff contenders in your own conference? That makes no sense.
Right.
So they're going to have to pay a premium. So now you're talking probably 3rd round pick would get it done if that's what they wanted to do. I'm telling you right now, this doesn't make any sense. If you just look at scheme, okay? There's so many reasons this doesn't make sense. Tom Brady has been at the top of the NFL in air yards in back-to-back years. You're going to trade for a quarterback in that vertical attacking threat, passing attack, that's at the bottom for his career ever? He has one of the weakest arms in the NFL. Not trying to throw shade on Jimmy Garoppolo. It's just not one of his strengths. Then on top of that, Tom Brady was adamant about getting Jimmy Garoppolo out of New England when they were there. They enacted on that, and Kraft basically demanded Belichick to get rid of him. Then Tom Brady goes on, I forget the name of the podcast, talking trash about Jimmy again. Now you think Tom Brady's going to be like, yeah, cool, bring this guy in. That's awesome. That makes sense. I don't see it, man. I just really don't. And especially they spent a 2nd-round pick on Kyle Trask, which I thought was a little bit of a reach. But I don't know, man. It makes very little sense. There is not a worse offense for Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFL. But if the trade did happen, I would be very happy from a 49ers perspective. I just can't put the breadcrumbs together to help it make sense.
Yeah, and I think even if it were to happen, here's the thing. I think one thing that the Bucs then they're saying about Kyle Trask, you're gonna either need more time to. We either made a mistake with you. You're gonna need more time to develop on the bench. For Jimmy Garoppolo, this would be like almost a long-term thing, like not this year, but next year. And that's the other thing. Like Jimmy Garoppolo is entering free agency next year, so trading for him now, I don't know how that would make any sense at all, because trading for him now would be like, okay, he's not even going to start this year and we still have to pay him all this money. And then again, Kyle Trask, as much as we really haven't seen him. So like, I don't know, the Buccaneers, that's interesting. And the thing is about this report, it's like, this guy's not a credible source. It came right out of the blue. It seemed to me like it was a little bit of a clickbait, like I said before, because he didn't even have Don Yee on his show. And again, nobody is expecting Jimmy Garoppolo, like no rumors, nothing. So again, this guy is a credit. Like he used to play for the Bucs. He probably knows some people in the front office. So that's one pro of it. But another pro is like, I mean, yeah, his name is, he has his own show, but his name is going to be very tainted if he doesn't get this right.
Yeah, I always tell people, whenever, especially in today's like blue check mark world or whatever, you got to consider the source. If they're the same people that were saying Mac Jones at 3 or trade George Kittle or Debo, whatever, like, come on, like allow people's track record to speak for themselves and hold that accountable. And so, maybe he is right. And from a 49ers perspective, I hope he is. Yeah. I would love for Jimmy Garoppolo to go there because I think it's a good situation for Jimmy. I want nothing but positive things for him. He helped turn around the franchise. And it would be good for the 49ers. They freed up all that space, and you would probably get a decent pick back because, like I said, trading him within the conference to another contender, you're going to have to pay a little bit of a premium there.
So, but that's my next, that's a good segue, is since Baker Mayfield, let's talk a little bit about Baker Mayfield. Since he went for, okay, it was crazy. Like the Panthers took $5 million out of the 15 of his deal. Okay, this blows my mind. This, I don't even know. Baker Mayfield's a pretty decent quarterback. The Panthers say, we will pay for $5 million of his 15. The Browns paid for $10 million. In return, they only got a conditional, I believe it can be a 4th round pick, but it's a 5th round pick right now, a conditional 5th. They got that.
2024. Like it's not even next year.
Like that was crazy. They basically got nothing for this guy. So how does this affect his trade value? And in a sense, like I could see it affecting it, but also like Baker Mayfield definitely, they were desperate, the Browns, to get him out of there. So that could be why his value was so low. But what does this affect Jimmy Garoppolo's value at all? And I mean, that's worrying if it does, because that means he's going for a very low pick.
Yeah, I think Jimmy will go for more than Baker Mayfield for several reasons. Number one, what people don't understand, Baker Mayfield's entire salary was fully guaranteed. Jimmy Garoppolo has $4 million fully guaranteed. So there's a lot of wiggle room there. It's not like the people think that the 49ers like have to act now and you got to do this and you got to do that. And look at the contract. Yeah. Okay. Just allow the numbers to speak. If you cut Jimmy Garoppolo today, or if you wait and cut him before week 1 of the NFL season, you save the exact same amount of money. So they're not up against anything. So where the Browns were, where Baker is going to Baker, I'm from Texas, coached in Texas for a long time. Baker's been this flamboyant firecracker, and that's never going to stop. And so whenever you pursued Deshaun Watson and all those things, Baker came out publicly and just, nope. Like you had to end that relationship. Jimmy's never done that. So there's a big difference there. Number 2, the 49ers could release Jimmy Garoppolo, but I want to tell you why that won't happen. The Seattle Seahawks are in their division and have a major need at quarterback. If you cut Jimmy Garoppolo today, he's walking to Seattle for free.
Yeah.
That's why I do not believe, I understand the whole salary cap implications. We can dive into that if you want to. But I'm telling you right now, do not undermine the stubbornness of Kyle Shanahan. And there is no way John Lynch and Seattle's finally on the ropes. And they have had the 49ers number since this coaching regime showed up. No way you give them a get out of jail free card.
You really think the Seahawks would go for him if they?
I do.
Dang, that's crazy.
Why not? Geno Smith? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, what I was gonna say is real quickly. This is a thought that I completely didn't have about the Buccaneers. If you don't mind going real quickly back to that, I just wanted to say, if the Buccaneers were to, I think if they were to get Jimmy Garoppolo, they would basically be saying like the rebuild is like upon us. But does Jimmy Garoppolo really want to be part of a rebuild? And that's something that I don't know. I'm not really sure. He would be part of another rebuild, but honestly, I think it would be good for his name to be part of a Buccaneers rebuild after after Tom Brady leaves, because if he does well, then your stock goes up and then you have a career again. So that's just a thought that I had. But let's get back to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, so I'll say this, if we're talking about the Browns, and again, the whole idea is, okay, does what he went for, Baker, a 2024 fifth rounder, change what Jimmy is worth? Yes, it lessens it. However, the 49ers don't have their back up against anything, and they get to be patient. If Deshaun Watson is suspended indefinitely for the entire season, which could come, news could drop any moment now. If that happens, that is a perfect landing spot for Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah. It's perfect. Strong O-line, strong running game, strong defense, and it's a playoff caliber team now. So now, if for some reason Deshaun does not get suspended for the full year, there is 0% chance they would trade for him. Yeah. No way the 49ers are trading him to Seattle, as we already talked about. And so then you have to kind of quote unquote hope for the Sam Bradford type issue. You never hope for injuries. Injuries are always the worst thing ever. But whenever Terry Bridgewater messed up his knee in the preseason, and then the Vikings thought they were in a win now mode, you could take advantage of that. So that's another thing that, if Jimmy gets traded, that's kind of where they are. Injuries happen. And so you move forward. Like I said, it doesn't save you any money if you cut them now. So you can wait all the way till cut day at the end of August and be just fine.
Yeah. When do you think this deal? When do you think they'll wait it out? Do you think do you think they get it done towards training camp or right now? If I were the Browns, when is Deshaun Watson's ruling? Isn't it like next week or something? We don't know.
It's gonna be on a Friday. It's gonna be on a Friday. So that's why I was like, it's either today or it's next Friday. There's still a couple more proceedings that they have, I believe Monday, Tuesday next week, but it's gonna be on a Friday. The NFL always drops bad news on a Friday. So that would be one. Number one, the suspension has to be a year long. Number two, Jimmy has to start throwing publicly and pass a physical. Once that happens, then the trade could go down.
Yeah, there's a few miracles that need to happen there, but as 49ers fans, we need to hope that happens, because otherwise I'm not really confident if the 49ers are going to cut him on cut day. And I don't know. I think they're what they've shown so far is that they're a safe team that aren't like, they'll do it, but I don't know. What they've shown so far doesn't really seem to me that they're going to cut him or do anything. So yeah, we'll see. Time is on. Well, would you say time is on I think time is on the 49ers side.
Yeah. Here's another thing, it's per game roster bonus. So it's not like if you keep Jimmy Garoppolo week 1, you have to pay his full $27 million salary. That's not how it works. It's divided up into 17 game checks. And so even if you keep him week 1, okay, you got to pay that week. But it's not, if there is a team out there that's trying to play chicken with the 49ers and call their bluff that they're going to release him, get him for free, that's fine. Again, think about Kyle Shanahan, okay? He is stubborn. His dad, stubborn. Whenever he announces the practice squad players to be elevated every single week, he submits them 1 minute before the deadline every single week. Any advantage he can get, he will do that.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. We were talking about Baker Mayfield, though, and you said, obviously we have still Tom Brady for one more year. I'm in both minds. Is Bucs still going to be good? They're still very, hyped up.
That roster's legit.
Yeah, but I don't know what to think of that. But we've got the Bucs. We've got the Saints, the Saints actually, with the rebuild, they've got a question mark at head coach, but with the rebuild, that's actually kind of that's actually not a bad team. They did a good job of rebuilding that team and then getting all these pieces back. They have a really good defense. Their offensive line did take a step down, but they have Alvin Kamara. They have a stacked receiver room. You're talking about Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, if he's healthy. You're talking about Jarvis Landry. You're talking about the Marquez Callaway, I think, is still there as well, and he was solid last year for them. So you're talking about a lot of weapons, especially on the offensive end, and then a pretty good defense as well. They've always had a good defense. So my question to you is, since Baker, we were talking about his trade, since Baker went to the Panthers, where do they stand now in the NFC South? I mean, it's still a tough division. This division is actually sneakily tough, unlike last year. It wasn't that good.
So I have the Panthers number 29 in my 32 teams. I got them low. I got them really, really low. I'm not a fan of the team. Their defense is great. Their offensive line has some issues. I understand their draft pick, that they just went with. I loved it going offensive tackle early. But, man, maybe they could surpass Atlanta, who I think has the worst roster in the NFL. But it's those two guys, they're fighting for last place. And another reason why I'm kind of high on Tampa Bay this year is because guess what? You get to play everybody in your division twice. And you got two cupcakes. You got 2 games against Carolina, 2 games against Atlanta. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice.
Well, and the thing is so my thing is I think the only reason why the Panthers did this is because they knew, okay, his job is on the line. Matt Rule's job is 100%. On the line. And so they're saying, okay, well, we already tested it out with Sam Darnold. We don't think that he's good enough to lead us anywhere. We need to go another direction. And Baker, and obviously, we think none of these quarterbacks in the draft are ready. We drafted this guy who obviously is probably going to be ready in a few years, but I don't think this is a long-term for Baker Mayfield, but I think it's more like a 1 or 2 thing to secure Matt Rule. They have to make the playoffs this year, so they go out and get Baker Mayfield. And in your defense, I think their offense is pretty good. They do have Robbie Anderson. They have the Moore guy. They have
Christian McCaffrey.
So, and they also have a second really good running back, Chuba Hubbard, who was really actually pretty solid last year. He could be a good receiving back. So if Baker Mayfield, I think, can stay healthy, that coach needs this. He really needs it. And I think if you look at the teams in the NFC, I mean, you're looking at playoff, they're obviously going to have to contend with the Saints. They're going to have to contend with the, say what you will, 49ers or whatever, maybe even the Cowboys. So it's not going to be easy. Now, I didn't actually have time to pull up the schedule. I could right now. But also, what position I think they were 3rd last year in the division, right?
Carolina was last. No, Atlanta finished ahead of them.
Really?
Atlanta was 7-10. Carolina was 5-12.
So that means they'd play the Lions. They'd play the Seahawks. They'd play, and then they'd play.
Let's see here.
Team?
They got Giants, the Cardinals. Because again, they play the entire NFC West, so they've got the entire NFC West.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're looking at out of conference, they play the Browns, Giants, Saints. They're in there, obviously. Falcons, they're in there. Bengals, Ravens, Broncos, Steelers, Lions, Tampa Bay, Saints. Yeah, it's not an easy schedule.
Yeah,
it's
it really
not an
isn't.
easy schedule.
So I mean, my opinion is this was really their only option, and they got lucky by paying. Really, for me, with the Browns, I think they should have traded. The Browns kind of showed their hand way too quickly, because I think obviously they didn't have a choice because Baker Mayfield was fed up. But the thing is they could have waited this out and gotten a better pick, because the Panthers were desperate as well. You can't win with Sam Darnold, and you have a hard schedule. What are you gonna do there? So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think okay. The Carolina coaching staff has completely bombed since they showed up. They've drafted some top-tier talent. I'll give them that. But they're not developing middle-tier talent. And then that Sam Darnold trade was about as bad as it gets. And you traded away Teddy Bridgewater, who's playing great. Who's better than all these guys.
Yeah.
But if you just look individually at this trade for Baker, I think they did a hell of a job. Getting Baker Mayfield for a future 5th rounder and only paying $5 million is incredible. And it's just another dart throw. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Usually everywhere Baker goes, if it doesn't go perfect, get ready, because it's going to be a storm. But no, I think this was a positive move, and I'm excited because the 49ers get to play them this year, and we know Nick Bosa's affinity for Baker Mayfield, so excited for that.
Yeah. I mean, if it doesn't work, then Matt Rule is fired, and they're gonna have
100%.
to look for another coach. So it's gonna be interesting. The other thing
D'Amico
that
Ryans, that's who it'd be.
yes, that's true. That's a good point as well. And I think he'd be great for that team. I think he's going to be good for any team. Good leader. And I think if Baker Mayfield stayed with D'Amico Ryans, I feel like that would actually be like, because D'Amico Ryans has that like nice leadership about him that I think would calm maybe Baker Mayfield down a little bit. So maybe that would work out as well. But the other interesting thing is they play the Browns week 1. So that's going to be
I love it,
think
man.
the Browns win it if Deshaun Watson is playing, but if
he ain't playing
isn't,
week 1.
If he isn't, I think it's gonna be a Panthers win, and then Baker Mayfield's gonna get his revenge. So that's gonna be a huge storyline. That's like now it's like I think it's a primetime game, but now it's gonna be like it's almost like the schedule makers like were like intending for this to happen and like scheduled it ahead of time.
Well, you even have the Seahawks and Broncos playing week 1. So like, yeah, I mean, it's totally narrative week 1. I freaking love it.
Yeah, well, okay, we all know who's going to win that game. I mean, I don't think the Seahawks
I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, that week just turned into like some bad matchups to like really good ones. So I'm excited to see that as well. Let's move on, though, to the second topic. Jimmy Garoppolo, we were talking about him going to the Bucs, and we both disagreed that this isn't going to work with the Bucs, and I think it's all fake news. What about the Browns? If Jimmy Garoppolo went to the Browns, we have this whole Deshaun Watson drama. And obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo, as much as we want to hate on him, he doesn't bring that much drama. Like, obviously with the quarterback controversy, right?
Yeah.
So, but like he doesn't bring the lawsuits with him. You know what I'm saying? So, would he bring a good leadership mentality? Would it be actually good for the Browns locker room? And would it kind of be a good move for the front office to kind of get their name back up in? Because right now that front office is very tainted, the name. So, is it a good move?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, as soon as the offseason started and we're like, all right, it seems like Trey's going to be the guy, because if you remember, after the NFC Championship loss, Jimmy Garoppolo like cried and literally said goodbye to the faithful. Like he was under the impression, I'm out. And so we went through and tried to diagnose, like, okay, what makes the most sense for the 49ers to trade Jimmy to? What team makes the most sense to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Who makes the best sense for Jimmy Garoppolo to be their quarterback, and try to approaching it from these different angles. I kept coming back to the Browns, and this was way before the Deshaun Watson, whatever else. I think it was May 10th. I put out there like, oh, don't be shocked if Baker gets traded and Jimmy lands with the Browns, which looked like I was way wrong with the Deshaun Watson thing. And then, you know, people keep retweeting and bring it back up, which I think is hilarious, but it makes sense. One, you have, and again, another reason why Baker had to go was because the general manager in front office said, we want to have an adult type quarterback in our thing. While Baker was still on the team, I don't like Baker Mayfield. I'm a Longhorn. I can't stand this dude. But he's incredible. I love what he does on the field. He leaves it all out there. There's a lot of positives, whatever. Like, I get that. But like, you have this quarterback still on your roster and you're saying we really want an adult in the room. And then you go sign Deshaun Watson. Like, what? Crazy. So yes, Jimmy would calm everything down, which is what they need right now, because let's just be real honest. Imagine being a season ticket holder and bringing your kid to all the games and having to cheer for this guy, Deshaun Watson. That's hard to do. You bring somebody like Jimmy in, it's going to give you a little bit of reprieve. It's going to distance you from the situation. It just makes too much sense to me. I know people keep telling me why it won't happen. I'm telling you right now, if I was the Browns, I would be doing this as soon as that suspension is announced. If it's a year or longer, I'm making the trade. If it's not, then I would not be.
Yeah.
But Jimmy would calm that down. They'd be in the playoffs this year. They would have been in the playoffs last year if they had Jimmy Garoppolo.
Good. I mean, it's a good, like, obviously it doesn't fit with Amari Cooper, but it's a good face of the franchise. Like, as much as you want to hate on him, he kind of got the 49ers back on the, back on the contention, like a notable, like the 49ers, their name, the ownership had kind of been embarrassed the last few years. And he kind of got, like, as much as we want to hate it, he kind of got them back on the map, like back to where, like, oh, this ownership is actually a smart ownership. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think this Brown team needs it. And again, like you said with the kids thing, or like if you're bringing, like, nobody wants to see Jacoby Brissett. As much as, like, I actually don't hate Jacoby Brissett. I actually think he did a pretty good job with the Colts. But I mean, I think it would be a good fit as well because the Browns have a good run game. Now, Amari Cooper, that's not good for him. But I don't think this would be a long-term thing necessarily because they have Deshaun Watson. So it'd be a one-year rental. And that brings up another thing is, like, are the Browns reading the 49ers' hands? Are the Browns right now sitting here thinking, okay, the 49ers aren't going to cut him, but should we wait until they do? Like, so are they kind of trying to read into this situation is my question.
Maybe, but again, if Jimmy Garoppolo gets cut, he gets to pick where he goes to. Would Jimmy Garoppolo pick the Browns? No way he would. Not because there's no long-term possibility there. And so Jimmy Garoppolo has a no trade clause this year, so he can go wherever the 49ers choose to send him. If you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you go to the Seahawks. I get to go back. I get to play the 49ers twice. I get to prove to them that they made a mistake. We see it all the time with, Favre or whoever. People want to play against their former team to prove them wrong. If you release him, he's signing with the Seattle Seahawks. There's no doubt about it.
And they've always been known to be aggressive. So, like, I don't know if you're the Browns, if you can take that calculated risk on waiting for him. So what you're saying is giving me a lot of hope because I'm like, oh no, like 49ers might wait and just keep him the whole season. But I really hope the Browns come in with a request or an offer. So that's going to be
suspension's going to be everything. If the suspension isn't a full year, I think it completely removes the Browns. Even if it's 12 games, I think the Browns are completely removed from any Jimmy G type trade.
Do you think that if the Browns this year, because obviously this coach hasn't proven a whole lot, do you think what's his name? He's the guy
Kevin Stefanski.
Stefanski. Do you think
he was coach of the year 2 years ago?
Right. What would he do? Like, what I'm trying to ask is, like, what do you think he would if his job being on the line, like, what would he have to do this year to keep his job? Because I feel like trading for Deshaun Watson, not a good look because the Browns showed major impatience. Like, they were very impatient with the Deshaun Watson thing. So it's kind of all a bad look for him. What do you think he has to do this year to kind of, like, keep his job?
I think he's pretty safe. He got that one playoff win. He was coach of the year 2 years ago. I think he's probably 2 years removed. But yeah, this Deshaun Watson thing could look bad. Now, who does that fall on? General manager, Stefanski, front office, where that goes, I don't know. But I think he's safe. The Browns have a good roster. They really, really do. They just, if you get the quarterback position solidified, and whenever Deshaun Watson does step in, they're going to be good. So I don't think they're going to shake it up. I think he's safe. But yeah, if you get Garoppolo, super safe, right? Like, because they're going to be right there on that playoff bubble.
You really think so? So Garoppolo would really make that difference. I think
they'd be in the playoffs.
I mean, the receivers wouldn't match up because they have Donovan Peoples-Jones, they have Amari Cooper, they have who else? They lost Jarvis Landry, so I'm not really sure. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, I got you right here. I'll or at least I thought I did. Let's see here. Let's look up the Browns because their defense is one of the things that I think is so special about them. I mean, good. You got Myles Garrett, who you could argue is the best player, in the NFL. But you've got Nick Chubb, you've got Kareem Hunt, got D'Ernest Johnson, who they paid a lot for. They went out this year. They've got Njoku, they got Jakeem Grant. Like, they've got some guys. Their O-line is great. Their secondary is better. Like, it's a solid freaking team. They signed Jadeveon Clowney on a 1-year deal. They fully expect themselves to be able to play now. You got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah on they have a roster. They have a very good roster and a winnable division, which is crazy to think. I know the Bengals and the Steelers and the Ravens, but there's not a clear front runner outside of the Bengals there. Right. This team can make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. Now that you're laying it out there and the pieces that they have, maybe this
Got
would
a
be a good
lot.
team because they have a good defense and Jimmy Garoppolo thrives behind a good defense and a good running game. So just hand it off to Nick Chubb 40 and you have Kareem Hunt as well. So anyways, chat, like if Jimmy Garoppolo, like which one do you guys think Jimmy Garoppolo will go to? Bucs or the Browns? We're both agreeing Browns here. One more thing though, before I let you go. Do you think the Browns should have been more patient with the Baker Mayfield? Do you think they should have been more patient with his injuries? We talked about this a slight bit, but do you think they should have maybe been more patient and built maybe I don't know. Do you think they should have been more patient, basically what I'm trying to say, with Baker Mayfield?
The way they handled it was wrong from the start. I thought it was correct in not picking up, or when they picked up his 5th-year option, and they basically said, we're not doing a long-term deal.
Yeah.
He just doesn't protect the ball. His interceptions have been just off the charts. If you look at like most interceptions the past like 4 years, he's at the top of the list. And so like that's an issue. The leadership, and again, the fact that they came out and said like we really want an adult at quarterback. You can be an immature player in the NFL and have a lot of success.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard from that quarterback position. And so, you know, I would argue this relationship could have used some therapy from the start. You had Baker Mayfield calling out his running back, I forgot who it was, for trying to hold out and get a deal. You don't do that. You never try to stop your teammates from getting money. That's bad. And all the things that he says and does, like, it just comes back and gets you. So yeah, did they handle it right? No, but it's the Browns. The Browns are the Browns for a reason. You look at that franchise,
curse.
The way they run themselves opens up for all of this. It really, really does. So
and
I don't know. It's bad on bad.
Yeah, and hopefully Stefanski, like, it's interesting because you brought in a guy that Deshaun Watson, I think, could be a leader, but you also brought in a guy with a lot of other drama as well. So it's like I don't think he's the general manager as well. So I'm not sure how much say he has in that. I think I would remove the general manager after this year. I don't know why. Well, I think he's done a good job of putting the pieces in place, but they haven't really had a good decision making with the coaches. And the one bad look that I think the Browns do have is they didn't, like, they waited until like the thing got approved by, like, it got passed by, what was it, the court, like Supreme Court or something like that.
Well, what happened was they chose the two places where the courts were trying to deal with this. It didn't go through the grand jury. So they chose that there wasn't enough evidence to move forward. Never deemed innocent. That's not what grand juries do, if people don't understand. They just said there's not enough evidence to move forward to prosecute. And so that's what that was. And the Browns, they came out and said, oh, we did our due diligence, even though they never talked to one of the accused people. They just took it as those two cases was verification. We're going to be okay. And so, man, they deserve it all. All the mess that's coming their way, they deserve it all.
A part of me, when Deshaun Watson, right before this all broke a few years ago, I really wanted the 49ers to get, I think everyone wanted them to get Deshaun Watson, but I'm kind of glad we didn't, because he is in a world of trouble right now. And I think Trey Lance could be I don't know right now if he's going to be Deshaun Watson, but like, let's hope he is with all of the less drama, because he's a very good guy. I don't think you'd see him doing that at all. But like, now I'm so glad we didn't get him, because that would be bad. That would be really, really bad.
I had Deshaun Watson as the number 2 quarterback in the NFL whenever all those trade rumors started. Like, he's incredible. He's incredible. Yeah. But at some point, is it really worth it?
Yeah, and the thing is he was carrying a Texans team for a while, but really had a stripped down roster and was pretty bad. And so, I mean, that just shows how good he is, but hopefully I hope he gets it under control. But for 49ers fans, it's like, hopefully they do suspend him, even though it's a bad thing to like wish upon it. Well, actually he did a bad thing. So, I guess it's
26 of them.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, I hope he gets suspended, and hopefully Jimmy Garoppolo, just for Jimmy Garoppolo's trade
Yeah,
trade
and
value.
I'll say this, like I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, accusations equal guilt. That's not it at all. I
Yeah.
am saying I read the deposition. I am saying I read the text messages. I am saying this dude needs to be suspended.
Yeah.
Definitely predatory behavior. No room for that, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. So, anyways, this has been a lot of fun. Obviously, you've got
Yes.
places to go, so we'll get you out of here. This has been a lot of fun, though. Thank you for joining us.
Man, you're awesome. Love your show. Love your positivity. It's incredible what you bring to the platform. Very freaking knowledgeable. You do a hell of a job, man. So keep doing what you're doing, Ben. Excited to see where you're going to take this thing.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for watching. Real quick, we've got about 12 days till I draw the giveaway. I'll do a live stream there, so don't forget. $25 Amazon gift card for the first place winner, and then the second place winner will get a 49ers tumbler mug. So link in the description for all the information and everything else like that. So if you want to go enter in that, the giveaway will be July, I believe, 21st. So go enter in that. Everyone, this has been a lot of fun. We will see you guys. I'll see you guys next week. And that's been John Chapman. If you haven't already, subscribe to his channel, which I'm sure you have, because he has unbelievable content that you can't miss. So we'll see you guys later. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day.